see most of you sitting inside the hall. Please enjoy this power pack session, and I'll come back with the lucky draw prizes, right? Over to Ram.
Yeah. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. What we would probably do is each one of us would take about 5 to 6 minutes. You don't believe it? Okay. Present to you our thoughts on the topic. Then perhaps throw the floor open to questions and make it a lot more interactive and productive. So I've been told by Purushothaman that we need to wind up the session by 5:40, 5:45. So that's the better part of the news. But until then, the onus is on you to keep us awake. It's a fairly interesting topic. Find entrepreneurship, incubation, innovation, and how the industry can foster entrepreneurship and innovation in educational institutions, and what role each one of you could potentially play to drive this. So we have very highly experienced individuals from the industry, from different parts of the country, one from Hyderabad, one from Haryana, one from Kerala, and one from Tamil Nadu. What I would do is, rather than bore you with a fairly long list of items that I have on the agenda, I'll keep it short and then play the role of a moderator. But before that, let me try and then set the context. Fine. We spent some time debating this particular topic the last half hour to an hour. And there are a few questions that really came about. One, do we have the ecosystem to create an entrepreneurial climate in India? It's very easy for us to probably establish an entrepreneurship cell in an educational institution, but what does the cell do? You can offer a course with 4 credits in entrepreneurship, but does that produce an entrepreneur? Because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship or entrepreneurialism is a mindset. It's a culture. Can you teach culture? Can you create that mindset in an individual? That's the big question that this panel wants to address. And what are the different stakeholders that creates this mindset? The society at large, the industry, the government, the educational institutions, as well as the individual. How do we react when we say someone is an entrepreneur? As one of the panel members was saying a little while back, whenever a large organization goes to a campus and makes X number of offers in the campus, that educational institution very proudly goes out and then says, we have placed X number of people in company A or a company B. How many educational institutions are willing to go out and say, fine, off the batch of 650 students, 5 of them became entrepreneurs? Do we even talk about it? So what's the mindset with which we actually grow up kids back at home? You need to get this degree. You probably need to join this organization. You perhaps need to go abroad, find and get this postgraduate degree program. Does this all fuel entrepreneurship? Do we really need a kind of a mind shift, if you will, in the marketplace for us to rejoice? Fine, for us to see successes out there in the marketplace of entrepreneurs? Or is this entire ecosystem geared to build professionals who can only work in organizations but not create one? That's going to be extremely critical. As academicians, let me probably throw 2 examples at you Fine, then I'll probably take my seat. One, I shared this example quite often at some of these forums. Representing the IT industry, I can tell you, in just the last 3 years, the top 10 companies in the industry have created 100,000 testing jobs. 100,000 testing professionals have been created in this industry. But there's not a single educational institution in the country that offers the course in testing. You know where the demand is, but why is it that we have done nothing about it? If you ask me, can the industry play a role in it? Absolutely yes. But can educational institutions create a platform and mechanisms that can actually help create that many number of career testers, that many number of testing professionals? Now, whenever I've had this dialogue with academicians, with educational administrators, they come back and then say, AICT doesn't provide us a platform for it. To hell with AICT. AICT can actually provide you a certain structure which can help you create a degree program, but can't you probably create certification programs around it to equip and enable an individual to become a career tester? Absolutely. Fine. If educational institutions are entrepreneurial, you can create those courses. I was at a quality forum a few days back, and someone stood up at that forum and then said that 95% of all companies globally in the IT industry that are assessed at what is called the SCI CMM level 5 or PCMM level 5, these are the highest standards for software process engineering and people capability, happens to be in India. But this is a program, this is an assessment that is done by the Carnegie Mellon University, where 95% of companies that have been assessed at these levels are here in India. Why can't an educational institution in India create a standard for the rest of the world to actually follow and adopt? What prevents us from doing it? A little while back we were discussing that X number of organizations in this industry collectively hire some 300,000 people in a given year. No company in no industry globally outside of the IT industry and a few companies in India hires 40,000 or 50,000 people in a given year. Can we not create a recruiting maturity model hereby, along with one of the educational institutions, create a benchmark or a standard for the rest of the world to adopt and follow? Absolutely we can. But do we have the mindset to do it? Do we have the investment to do it? It's okay if we fail. But then unfortunately, here in the Indian context, failure is not an option. Failure is an option. Fine, in the Western world, if you probably look at many of the entrepreneurs, fine, they actually recognize failure. If a person has failed creating 3 companies, a private equity investor will come in and then fund him for the 4th company because he knows what not to do. But here in the Indian context, unfortunately, we treat failure very differently. And that's precisely what the panel is going to discuss today. How do we inject this mindset? How do we inject this culture to celebrate entrepreneurs who have both succeeded as well as failed? How is it that we can probably create this mindset or culture of incubating new ideas and giving a pat on the back of individuals who have tried but perhaps not have succeeded, fine, in educational institutions? With those opening remarks, let me perhaps now call upon Ajay to say a few words. Fine, then we'll follow it up with Shantanu and then move over to the other 2 panelists. Thank you.